And finally, we are going to do an example for law of cosines. So remember, non-right triangles. Here's an example of our non-right triangle. We've labeled A across from A, B across from B, C across from C, all right? Law of cosines, we talked about in our intro video how if you are given 3 pieces of information where all the letters are different, that's a candidate for law of cosines. And so that might show up in 2 different ways. You might be given side, angle, side. For example, you might be given capital A, lowercase b, and lowercase c, right? So capital A, angle A, lowercase b, side b, and lowercase c, side c. So the presentation of that information would be side, angle, side. That's a candidate for law of cosines. You could also be given side, side, side. In other words, you could be given lowercase a, lowercase b, lowercase c, where you don't know any of the angles, you just know all 3 side lengths. Again, 3 different letters. So that's 2 ways that law of cosines might be popping up. So for our example, I've given you side length A, side length C, and angle B. 3 different letters of information. This is a candidate for law of cosines. Take a look at the presentation of the information. A is 8, C is 10, and angle B is 130 degrees. So this is a case of side, angle, side. We are asked to find side length B. So we're asked to find the side length across from angle B. And so we can do that if we use the correct law of cosines formula, which is this one. You're solving for little b. Now we know that b squared equals a squared plus c squared minus 2ac cosine b. Remember the pattern, all right? AC here, angle B, because we're solving for side B. And I'm just going to plug in what I know, right? So I plug in A is 8, I plug in C is 10, square them, 64 plus 100, minus 2 times A times C is 80, cosine of 130 degrees. Please make sure you're in degree mode on your calculator. We're going to evaluate this whole expression here, and we approximate it to 2 decimal places. If you pop this in your calculator, it's going to give you 266.85. And please remember, you are not done yet. That is not the value of b. That is the value of b squared. I guarantee many of you are going to forget that there's a final step here when you're using the law of cosines, which is to take the square root of both sides. Taking the square root of this value, we get that b is approximately 16.34 units, and we've solved for side length b. Now I want you to think about this. I'm not going to take this one any further, but I do want you to consider that if you were asked to solve for the rest of the missing components in the triangle, for example, if you were asked to solve for angle A and angle C, your next step from here would be to use law of sines. Because what we've done is, we've used law of cosines, we have found the measure of side length B, and now in this triangle, we have angle B and side length B. We have 2 letters that match each other, which means solving the rest of the triangle can be done using the law of sines. So that's just projecting forward a little bit. In the event that you're asked to solve for the full triangle, you may have to start with law of cosines and then continue with law of sines to get the rest of the missing components. And that's it, guys. Have so much fun this week doing all your practice. Bye.